Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back. So if you guys haven't seen my full bullish thesis video on Bitcoin, please go ahead and watch that video before you go ahead and watch this one, because I do believe that Bitcoin will be the next 20x opportunity in the coming years. And yes, you did hear me correctly. I did say 20x. So yeah, that's not a joke, by the way. If you want to know the reasons why and what led me to make that conclusion, please watch that video. But what are we talking about today? Well, today we're talking about how you can invest in Bitcoin without actually buying Bitcoin itself. As in, if you just wanted to have a stake in the cryptocurrency game just by using a brokerage account, is there a way to do so? Hint, hint, the answer is yes, by the way. So yeah, let's jump in and talk about it. But first, let me explain why you want to do something like this in the first place, okay? So, as in why you want to invest in Bitcoin without actually buying Bitcoin itself. Well, the main reason is due to tax reasons, because many of you watching this are probably doing the most of your investing through your TFSA, which is the Canadian version of a Roth IRA for my American friends. So, as you know, the gains in a TFSA are tax-free. So, if you're using a service like Wealthsimple Crypto, that is counted as a personal account. So, when you make capital gains, when you sell your Bitcoin, you're subject to capital gains tax on your gains. And if you do it the way that I do it, which is you buy Bitcoin off of ShakePay, I do believe that ShakePay also does keep records of your transactions as well. So if you sell for a gain, then it gets recorded, right? So you're supposed to report it on your tax returns. I know a lot of people probably don't, but it's a little bit of like a legal gray area, I think, right now. So to be honest, I'm not quite sure of the tax implications. I would refer you to talk to a tax expert on this. I'm not planning on selling my Bitcoin position anytime soon anyway, so it's not really a concern for me right now. But yeah, talk to your tax expert if you're planning on selling your Bitcoin for a big gain, because I know Bitcoin's gone up a lot, right? So if you want to cash out, yeah, like make sure you don't get into trouble with the tax agency, with the government. If you're interested in buying Bitcoin itself though, still, ShakePay does have a promotion going on right now where you can get a free $30 when you sign up and buy your first $100 worth of Bitcoin or Ethereum. So link for that down below in the description. Now, for full transparency's sake, this is a referral link, so you don't have to use it if you don't want to, but if you do, it'll help me out, helps out this channel, and it would be greatly appreciated. Now, second reason why someone will want to invest in Bitcoin without actually buying Bitcoin is just for the sake of convenience, right? So I get it if you don't want to use the referral link to get your free $30 when you sign up and invest your first $100 worth of Bitcoin or Ethereum. So I get it, right? It's a bit of a hassle. You have to open up a separate account, download a separate app, you have to set it up and send your ID for verification and whatnot. So in case you prefer to just keep all your investing in one account and one app, for organization's sake, maybe you prefer it, maybe it's easier for you. So with all this in mind though, what are some options as to whether or not you can buy Bitcoin without actually buying Bitcoin? Well, first thing that people always suggest is to buy into a Bitcoin fund. So for example, there's one called Grayscale. So Grayscale Bitcoin Fund, GBTC is the ticker. And if you're in Canada, there's another fund that's based in Canadian dollars called QBTC. However, I'm not really a big fan of these Bitcoin funds, and I'll tell you why. So the first reason why I don't like the Bitcoin funds is because of the management fee. So many beginners are actually not aware of this, but both GBTC and QBTC both charge a management fee of around 2%, which is actually quite high. So to put that into reference, if we're comparing Bitcoin to gold, well, a typical gold ETF, like the SPDR Gold ETF, ticker symbol GLD, it only charges 0.4%. Now, I know a lot of viewers here like ARK Invest, and I also like ARK Invest, by the way. Well, for ARK Invest's famous Genomics Revolution ETF, well, the fee for that is only 0.75%. And that fund is actively managed by ARK Invest, who are some of the smartest people in the world, right? So all the stocks in there are curated by ARK, so they're only charging you 0.75%. And finally, compare that to like a typical Vanguard S&P 500 index fund that's passively managed. Well, the fee for that is so low, it's basically zero, right? So it's like 0.03% or something crazy like that. Anyways, you get the point, right? I feel like 2% is too high of a fee to be paying for something that doesn't provide that much value added, since it's just a fund that holds Bitcoin and you can just buy Bitcoin yourself without having to pay the fee. So I know that I should typically mention that these funds also trade above the net asset value of the underlying Bitcoin in the fund. So the reason for this is just because it's a little bit more convenient and accessible to people to buy into these funds rather than buying the actual Bitcoin. But you do end up paying a premium when you buy in sometimes, because that premium can actually be quite high. So lastly, GBTC also trades over the counter. So sometimes over the counter stocks have different rules and the brokerages might charge you an extra fee. So if you insist on buying GBTC, I will check with your broker first to make sure you don't get charged an extra fee for buying GBTC, because it is over the counter. So, hearing about all these disadvantages though, what if you decide, okay, you've convinced me, I don't want to buy into a Bitcoin fund. What are some other choices? Well, another choice could be for you to buy Microstrategy stock. So I mentioned in the other video that Microstrategy bought over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, and this was back when Bitcoin was a lot cheaper than it is now, right? So this was back below like 20,000 USD per coin. So if you buy the stock, you're getting exposure to Bitcoin. But the downside is that this is no longer a pure play on Bitcoin, because you're buying into the business of MicroStrategy, which is a company that makes data analytics software. So that's their bread and butter. So Bitcoin is only something that they do kind of on the side. So if you like MicroStrategy, the company itself, which I do, I think they're a pretty well-run company. But yeah, if you like MicroStrategy, the company itself, it's a different story. So I don't think though that it's a good reason to buy the stock just for the fact that they have Bitcoin, right? Let's say you don't care about the data analytics and you're just after Bitcoin. I don't think it's necessarily a good idea to buy the stock just for that reason. So I feel like that's kind of a really roundabout way to get exposure to Bitcoin, if you know what I mean, right? So what's my preferred way though of getting into Bitcoin or getting exposure to Bitcoin without buying Bitcoin itself? Well, my answer for this is actually Bitcoin mining stocks, or crypto mining stocks in general. So I've talked about gold mining stocks before on this channel, and I still have my shares in Barrick Gold, but lately I've been looking into Bitcoin mining stocks. So this relies on the same principle as I talked about before, why I think gold mining stocks will go up massively if gold goes up, right? So same is true for crypto. So in case you forgot, the basic principle when it comes to the miners is that whether you're talking about gold or Bitcoin, the miner usually have a relatively fixed operating cost, whether you're talking about gold or Bitcoin, right? So they have to spend a relatively same amount of money just to keep the operation running. So if the thing that you're mining shoots up in price, well then your fixed costs stay the same because they're fixed, right? And you're making the difference between selling your thing and what you have to spend to keep your operation running. So then your margin is that difference. So then if the thing spikes up in price, then your margin just goes through the roof. So it's kind of like you're leveraging your money almost. And with the recent surge in Bitcoin and Ethereum prices, I think that crypto miner stocks are going to absolutely skyrocket as well. So from the company's perspective, if you're the crypto miner, this is fantastic news because you literally don't have to do anything different, right? Think about it. You have to like upgrade your hardware, but you have to kind of do that anyways in the first place, right? But regardless of that, like you have to do that anyways. But my point is that these companies don't necessarily have to innovate massively, right? Or they don't have to like do anything drastically different to see their profits skyrocket. So with that being said though, what are some crypto mining stocks that I'm looking into personally? Remember, this is not a recommendation, so please do your own research and make your own financial decisions. I'm just providing some things that I'm doing and some research that I found. But one that's caught my eye is HIVE Blockchain. So they're listed on the TSX Venture. So if you're Canadian and you don't want to convert currency, this might be a great option. So I had to read into their Q3 2020 investors presentation, which I'll quickly go through some highlights right now. So HIVE has operations in Iceland, Sweden, and Canada. And it's not a coincidence why those countries are chosen because as you probably already noted, these countries are known for having lower average temperatures in terms of just, climate. And this is important because crypto mining generates a lot of heat. So being located in a colder climate, it actually helps you cut down a lot on costs to cool your mining hardware. Now, HIVE actually mainly mines Ethereum with their Swedish and Icelandic facilities. However, they did acquire a Canadian Bitcoin mining operation in April of 2020. So that's been relatively recently, and whether or not it's Bitcoin or Ethereum, it doesn't really matter at this point because Ethereum tends to move in a similar direction to Bitcoin anyways. In fact, some might argue that Ethereum might actually have even more upside than Bitcoin. So that's a topic for another video though. Anyways, balance sheet wise though, they got more liquid assets than liabilities, which is always nice to see. And of course, they hold part of their balance sheet in crypto. So unlike most other companies which hold all of their liquid assets in cash, in this sense that HIVE is actually kind of doing the same thing as MicroStrategy, where they can choose to hold on to part of their assets as Bitcoin or as Ethereum, as crypto if they wanted to for themselves. And I feel like this is a big advantage of crypto over gold because if you're a gold miner and you want to hold on to your gold without immediately selling it, well then where are you going to put it, right? Storage will become a problem because gold is big and heavy, especially if you're talking about like unrefined gold, if you're talking about gold ore, which like 98% of it is not even gold, right? So yeah, where are you going to put it, right? Whereas with crypto, you essentially, because it's digital, you essentially have unlimited storage because it doesn't take up any physical space. So I hope we all love the environment though, because one of the biggest criticisms with cryptocurrencies is that mining it and running the network takes a lot of energy and it pollutes, right? So you'll be happy to find out that HIVE is focusing big on getting their electricity from renewable resources like hydro and thermal power, or geothermal power, sorry. And one last slide that will show you that I think is very interesting is the performance of HIVE stock versus other companies and cryptocurrencies. Now keep in mind that this chart does stop at September 2020, and we all know that Ethereum and Bitcoin prices have all skyrocketed since then. But yeah, keep in mind that even up until September 2020, we can see that HIVE stock has outperformed both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So this is the leverage effect that I was talking about earlier, remember? So as I said, your operating costs stay the same, and then if the underlying asset, if the thing that you're mining goes up in price and you're making the difference, then you got that lever, right? It's like you're cranking a lever. So all in all, I have a great feeling about HIVE, and to be honest, it doesn't even have to be HIVE specifically. So I'm just using it as an example, but pretty much all the crypto mining stocks have this leverage effect that I was talking about earlier. So I think that with the recent surge of Ethereum and Bitcoin, all crypto mining stocks, as long as they're well run, all the crypto mining companies, they're going to do really well in the short to medium term. As for my position, I actually haven't bought into HIVE just yet, but I gotta say it's looking real enticing right now, and I will probably pick up a position in HIVE very soon. So I just missed the deadline for TFSA withdrawal, so if I withdraw right now because it's January, then I'm gonna have to wait till next January to get my TFSA room back, right? So you know, my money is just kind of stuck in TFSA at the moment, so I could take the hit in the contribution room, I guess, if I want to, but I just think that if I didn't have to withdraw from my TFSA, what are some other ways to get exposure? And I think that you know, potentially maybe putting some of my money in my TFSA into HIVE could be a fantastic play, right? I don't know. So yeah, I feel like potentially it would be a great way to get some Ethereum and Bitcoin gains in a tax-free way. Anyways, I'll leave the video here for today. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, links down below in the description as always. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.